Dave Price, Tony Thompson 2, post-fight analysis. Now, first of all, congratulations to Tony Thompson. I predicted that Thompson would win this fight and would repeat and beat David Price, which to British fans and myself is not very good. Although there is hope, and I'll explain that later. I want to go back to a video prediction I did about David Price versus Audley Harrison, and I got absolutely destroyed, right? And I did a video, and the video was connected to, I can't remember the guy he fought, but he fought in the amateurs, and he was fighting against a southpaw. And during this fight with this southpaw in the amateurs, David Price was getting hit with the same punch over and over and over again and did not make the adjustments. And my belief was that straight left hand would be the key to beating David Price. And that's why I thought Audley would win the fight. Well, Audley got caught cold, and that's the end of that. But funnily enough, now it's a southpaw that's not beaten Price once now. It's a southpaw that's beaten Price twice. And I want people to think about this for 1 second. Yes, Price has got beaten twice by Tony Thompson. Vladimir Klitschko beat Tony Thompson twice as well. Now, the old expression, styles make fights. Is it possible that David Price has problems against southpaws? Now, as far as I go back in, I said in my previous video, Lennox Lewis, as far as I know, made no defences of his heavyweight title against southpaws. Now, there were two southpaw fighters out there around his era, which were Michael Moorer and Chris Bird. Now, I'm not suggesting that Chris Bird or Michael Moorer would have beaten Lennox Lewis. No. But I'm saying he never fought southpaws. So, the argument is there. Well, why Lennox didn't fight southpaws? Oh, well, you know, the money wasn't right. Whatever the excuse is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm going back to this point and saying, bad matchmaking. Now, why they decided to take Tony Thompson in the first place? He was 41 years old. Okay, and in my original statement, with my original prediction for the first Tony Thompson fight, I called him Tony the Pussycat Thompson. Now, Tony Thompson was given confidence by David Price by the ease in which Thompson was able to maneuver him into position and land punches. In the second fight, let's move forward. From the very first moment that Price took the centre of the ring, I was looking to see adjustments, and the first adjustment I want to see was him when he was just. Let me get myself in the picture here. Camera. Oh, I can't get it. But anyway, he was dangling out dangling out his left hand, dangling out like this, dangling out. I'm thinking, no, what you want to be doing is ramming that left jab out. Lennox Lewis he did pull with the jab, but when he was effective with jab, when he had that ramrod jab, I saw no ramrod jab. I just saw this sort of amateurish bouncing on your toes, sort of like trying to. I don't know what he was trying to do with that left hand. I've got no idea what he was doing, but he did not stamp his authority for the first minute. Say, look, I'm here to get revenge. I'm taking revenge, and I'm going to put the left jab, and I'm going to slam it in your face. I'm going to slam it hard with the left jab. I'm going to slam it with blind you the left jab and smash it over the top of the right hand. Didn't see any of that. Still this same. So to me, Price boxed the carbon copy for what he did the first fight. Carbon copy. He allowed Thompson to move him into position. The only thing about this fight is the fight went longer. The fight went longer. But nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. And for me, people say, oh, well, it was an exciting fight because Price was going toe-to-toe with Thompson. No! If Lennox Lewis fought, I have to go back. If Lennox Lewis fought the way that everyone wanted him to, we wouldn't have had an undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. When Lennox got knocked out by Oliver McCall, there were changes that were made straight away. Pepe Correa wasn't good enough. He went, right? He went, and he got himself with a man who stood. And I'm not being disrespectful to anybody here, but I just think at the end of the day that David Price needs to get himself aside, an experienced trainer. No disrespect to Lennox Lewis. You can't really blame Lennox. He tried to help where he could. I don't even know if they listened to what Lennox had to say, to be honest. I really don't know. But from what I saw, the only thing they may have paid any attention to with Lennox was the theme tune, the entrance. But everything else looked carbon copied, typical David Price bouncing around on his toes like an amateur. Two things I'll give David Price credit for: his heart and his chin. He took some blows from Thompson, yeah, and he got beaten by exhaustion, not by big punches, exhaustion. He was winded in about, I think, the 4th round. He got hit with a body shot, was backing up. He was winded. Thompson was landing nice body shots all the time, and Price didn't know what to do. Once Price was being backed up, Price didn't know what to do. He didn't hold when he should have held. He didn't spin him off the ropes when he was on the ropes. So, questions are, this is bad matchmaking. I think it personally is, because you've seen Price get beat twice by a southpaw, and I don't think Price is as good against southpaws. Secondly, I think Maloney made a point about tactics. Well, everyone's got tactics until they get hit in the chin. Maloney should know that and should know better. I made a statement in my video beforehand, and in my video beforehand, I said 2 things to David Price. David, if you want to become heavyweight champion of the world, pack your bags and leave Liverpool. I said it. Pack your bags and leave Liverpool. Get yourself an experienced trainer, and the first person I said, your best person to go to will be James Ali Bashir. I'm not saying that because me and Bashir talk. That helps, but I think that if you're working with somebody like Bashir, who is attached to the Klitschko's and Jonathan Banks, you've got a wealth of experience there. The first thing they'll do is get that poxy, whatever you're doing with that jab at the moment, showing you a proper left jab. The second thing is, and this is for all these boxing fans and experts out there that thought, Price should jump back in with the rematch. It's brave of him. It's brave of him, yeah? And now what are you saying? Price is finished. That's why when people are negotiating fights and some fights are not being made, stylistically, it might not suit that fighter. Not because they ducky one another. Stylistically, if Price had avoided Thompson and fought a right-handed fighter instead, because Price could still be a very good fighter against right-handed fighters, right? You can't say Price hasn't got any heart, because I think he does. I think his chin is okay. Where the problem with Price is a mental issue. I don't mean mental like he's mad. Mental meaning psychological. A lack of self-belief. And again, I go back to something I said in the Pack Your Bags David Price video, and I said to David, I said in the video, David needs to get a life coach or a motivational coach. He needs somebody who's going to mentor him. There are a lot of trainers in the world today of boxing, lots of trainers, but very few mentors. For example, a Teddy Atlas, when look at Michael Moore's career. Michael Moore was one who lacked a lot of confidence, but Teddy Atlas was there. Teddy Atlas was there screaming in the corner, do you want me to get in there and fight for you? But he was able to motivate Michael Moore. Another one, Angela Dundee. You're blowing it, son. You're blowing it, son. Said to Sugar Ray Leonard against Thomas Hearns. Do you remember that fight? And then Sugar Ray Leonard went out and put it on Hearns in the 14th round, I believe, and stopped Hearns. Right? What I'm saying to you is this. He needs a mentor, not just a trainer. David Price is a mentor, right? And Frank Maloney, bless his soul, he's doing the best he can for Price, but I'm not so sure if Maloney's the way forward. And in fact, I'm not so sure Eddie Hearn's the way forward. I don't know if he's still got the deal with Box Nation, but for me, if I were David Price, I would rebuild my career in America with an experienced trainer that could mentor him. You're looking at a mentor, someone who's going to be able to talk to David Price and make David Price has to believe in himself. He's got to want it, right? You can't fault him for getting back in the ring for Thompson, but for me, bad matchmaking. What were they trying to achieve in this? You know, there are other heavyweights in the world that Price could have fought. That right hand that he landed against Thompson would have knocked out a lot of other heavyweights in the world. Let's imagine that punch landing on the chin of Deontay Wilder, for example. Yes, we all know Deontay Wilder can punch, but like I've said before, and I will say it again, we don't know what Deontay Wilder's chin's like. And when he gets hit on the chin, then we'll see how good he is. There are a lot of heavyweights that Price can fight and hit on the chin and knock over and keep them knocked over. Let's remember some things here. Price is a devastating one-punch knockout artist. He still is. That. Don't take that away from him. Right? Technically, he can improve. He needs an experienced world-class trainer beside him. He needs also to get a manager, a younger manager that's not as petrified as him, because psychologically, when you're looking at Frank Maloney, unless you're mentally strong, you're looking at your manager, and your manager is a direct reflection of how you're feeling. You don't want that as your manager. No disrespect to Frank Maloney, but if I'm lacking confidence, the last thing I want to be doing is looking at you, and you're petrified in the corner, or you might have a heart attack because I don't want to fight. That's added pressure. That's added pressure. So he needs to get with a younger manager, Price. I don't know, as I said, back to the Box Nation deal, I don't know how that's going to work. And Price is in a funny situation here. He cannot go back to knocking bums over. That's not going to work. He's in a situation now where he's got to improve and have fights against guys that are going to throw punches back. Right? The problem Price has had is that he's blowing people away, and so he's got used to just throwing punches and people not throwing anything back at him. So now, when people start throwing punches back at him, he doesn't know what to do. Okay, so he needs to go to America. He really does, and get sharpish over there. He's 30 years old. Can he develop and learn and get better? Surely he can. If David Price can develop a ramrod left jab, Klitschko got knocked out, Vladimir got knocked out and came back, and then got beat again, knocked out and came back. And later on in life, you know, who knows? David Price, at 35 years old, we could be talking, and he could be undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Who knows? Who knows? Boxing's a funny game. One punch changes everything. You know, you can be winning a fight, and all of a sudden, bang, the lights go out. But going back to the reason why I made that prediction was because I questioned Price's stamina, I questioned his mental state in terms of his world-class ability to handle pressure, and I believe the reason why he got tired wasn't because of the training. I believe it was because of the amount of pressure he was under. The weight of expectation was too much for David Price. And I go back to his amateur days, and to be honest, I'm not seeing that much improvement in David Price. So, if I were David Price, personally, I'm saying, thank you very much, thank you very much, thank you very much. I'm going to America. This is not working. This, you've only taken me so far. I'm sorry now. Goodbye. I'm going to the States. Steve Lillis made a point about how, well, if Lennox Lewis disappears, Franny Smith will be left to pick up the pieces. Yeah, Franny Smith is left to pick up the pieces, and he's done a good job to get Price the British title and the Commonwealth Championship. But I think they need help, and I'm not so sure if Lennox Lewis is the way forward. Personally, I don't. Lennox may have been a great fighter, but a great fighter does not make a great trainer. Does not make a great trainer. Let's get this straight, right? Because a trainer, right, might not be a great fighter, but he can make you train and make you into becoming. He knows the ingredients needed to make you into a great fighter. And if you ain't got it, you simply ain't got it. But if you're a fighter, then you say what you would do. which is great, which is what you would do in a situation with your attributes, with your hand speed and your power and your movement and your mental state, and you try and part that into a fighter. But they're not you. They're not you. Lennox Lewis is not David Price, right? And if they're going to have that arrangement, then Lennox Lewis is going to do it on his terms. Lennox is, from what I've seen in his career, he was a man that did things on his own terms. So you'd literally have to say to Franny Smith, look, mate, or take to Price, look, you want me in the camp? You have me in the camp. I'll make decisions for you. I'll manage you, and I'll train you, and get rid of Franny Smith. I don't know. I'm not saying that's the way forward. I'm personally saying if I had my way, there'd be no Lennox Lewis, there'd be no Franny Smith, and he'd be over to America, shipped off in a week over to America, and start looking at, building his career in America, I think, and going down winning a European title. I think Kubrat Pulev is the European champion, or Helenius. A Helenius fight would be an interesting fight. I think it's a winnable fight for Price. I actually think, people say, well, if he gets hit on the chin, well, if Helenius gets hit on the chin, yeah, if Helenius gets, and he hasn't looked great recently, and it's a totally different fight. It's a totally different fight. So I have hope in David Price, but it's down to David Price here. It's not down to Franny Smith, Lennox Lewis, Teddy Atlas. It's down to David Price. If you really want to be heavyweight champion of the world, David, I said it before, I'll say it again, pack your bags and leave and go to America. And base your career in America. If you have to come back and fight in the UK, fine, but do your training in America. Will a Tyson Fury, David Price fight happen? Well, I said before it was going to be a mismatch, because I thought Tyson Fury was too much of an animal. What I mean animal, he was just too streetwise, too rugged. And I just saw Fury, first round would have happened. He would have got into Price's head first. He'd have been talking him up at the press conference, belittling him, and come fight, and probably got physical up in his face. And come fight time, Fury would have come out the corner for the first round and come run it straight and try and put one right on Price's chin. That's what he'd have done. He wouldn't have boxed, he'd have gone out there and brawled with Price. Fully well known, in fact, hit him on the chin and get him out there early. I ain't going to let this guy get started. I'm not going to give him any confidence. And if you go back and listen to my interview with Tyson Fury, the first interview, he states clearly, "Oi, you've got a problem." That statement there brought question marks as to going into this fight with Tony Thompson a second time. Confidence. Why David Price doesn't believe himself, I don't know. But David Price, Frank Malone's a bad mix. Let me know what you guys think. For David Price fans, keep the faith. For Tyson Fury fans, still keep the faith. Because let's be honest, you still want to see the fight happen. I still want to see the fight happen. And I'm sure Tyson, somewhere, at some point, may even win the World Heavyweight Championship of the world and want to make his first defense against David Price. Battle of Britain. Who knows? That's if he gets past David Haye first. Anyway, I think I've said enough. Don't buy into the hype. Appreciate a man's boxing skill and talent. Okay? Tony Thompson, for his career, I personally, if I were Tony Thompson, I would go and get on the phone and fight Deontay Wilder. Go fight Deontay Wilder. Because if Tony Thompson fights Deontay Wilder, I'm picking Tony Thompson by KO. By KO. Because he's not going to get caught with all them windmill shots. And Deontay Wilder will get hit on the chin in this fight. And I would back Thompson to win the fight. Just for technical boxing ability, to be honest. But who knows? Okay. Let me know what you think. I'm out. Thanks for listening.